test us. We ball hard, run around with the best, you gon' learn your lesson.
Welcome to the Relentless Podcast. I'm Darnell Haney, head coach at the great Jacksonville University, home of the Relentless Women's Basketball Program. I'm joined again by the great Kenny Brooks, head coach at Virginia Tech, Ron Huey, head coach at the University of Houston,
Back.
David Six, head coach at Hampton University, and Terrell Robinson, head coach at North Carolina A&T. Fellas, what's going on? How we doing today?
Back in the
Doing
South.
awesome, doing awesome.
We back. It's another Thursday night. Something I look forward to every week, man. I'm going to start with you, Coach Huey. You guys had a hell of a run. I believe it was 17-18 season. You guys went to the WNIT. And in my opinion, you guys should have went to the NCAA tournament, right?
Yeah.
What did that team have, and what type of sauce did that team have in them that helped you guys be so successful?
Hands down, competitiveness.
Mm.
You know, we were talented in some spots.
Mm-hmm.
We were really, really tough, but the competitiveness was off the charts.
Mm.
It was so bad that team couldn't play pickup in the summer without somebody calling me saying they're getting ready to fight.
Mm.
So I would have my GA in there and like take the balls up, get everybody out of the gym, y'all can't even play.
Mm.
And so with that team, the other thing I had to do was we only practiced 2 hours. They thought that was too long. And I was like, come on now. So I said, how long y'all want to practice? They said 1 hour and 30 minutes. I said, let's go 1 hour and 40 minutes. They said, I said, if you do 4-minute drills, the way I want you to do it hard, we can get out there in 1 hour 40, 1 hour 45 minutes. They said, bet. And that's what we did. So we got in there, and that was one of the days that Coach Sampson came in there and watched me when I was doing all the drilling and stuff. And he said, you need to play more.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought into that, and we played and we played and we played and we played. We actually played them into shape.
Mm.
You know, we started with 3-minute games, 4-minute games, and 5-minute games, and 6-minute games, just letting them go. No fouls, no calling no fouls, no out of bounds, make them run to the wall, go get the balls, come in, everything.
Mm-hmm.
The only time we called timeouts was situations, you know, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that team was super competitive. They did a really good job of telling each other the truth. I saw Mike Jones I think he was at Radford at the time. He was on his last year of the contract. So they did this thing called truth circles where the kids call out each other every day before practice, basically saying, T-Rob, I need you to be on the boards and rebound like you're supposed to. I don't need you to be doing, you know, that kind of stuff. And the next one called out the next one. So we added that. And I think that was the thing that got us over the top, because all the kids started saying, we know what we have to have from each other. So you got to be able to bring it. And they started to call each other out on it. And that took us to a place we've never been.
Man, so you guys implemented that mid-season, going into conference, or you guys implemented that in postseason? When was that implemented?
It was about the 4th or 5th game, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that from Mike Jones, because, you know, I talked to Stacy Palmore. He was an assistant at Georgia at the time. He's at, I can't remember what school he's at now, but he told me that, you know, you need to look at some of the stuff that he's doing up there at Radford. And I called Mike, and he told me about that, man, and we added that. Because they were already competitive like crazy, and they always wanted to play, but they didn't mind drilling, doing what we need to do. But when we added that truth thing, and this is what you got to be able to bring for us to win,
right,
took us over the top, man. But you got to have a special team to be able to call people out like that every day, because some of them can't handle it. Like the team I got right now, I'm questioning they can handle it, and we're gonna try it for our first time on Wednesday next week, first day of practice. We're gonna try it.
Right. When that team that you had, they had some juniors and some seniors on that team, though, huh?
Yeah, but all my sophomores were my starters. I brought them in as freshmen and played them because they were better than the upperclassmen. So they got all that experience, and I lived with their mistakes.
Right.
Yeah, we put the dribble drive in that spring, then came in, went through all summer and then got to the fall and just let them run with it.
Got it.
And that was the thing that got us over the top.
Got it. I love it. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Coach Rob,
What's up, man?
I was able to. You gave me a dope accountability program that you guys do with your team, the Marble Accountability Program. Talk a little bit about how you keep your kids accountable through that Marble program and that Marble program, and because I loved it. It just takes a lot to keep up with it, right? But I loved it. Talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, just that program and how you keep your kids accountable through it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm start off by how we got to that point. My worst year here as a head coach, we don't even say the year, we say the record, 14-18. I think that was after I'd went to the NCAA tournament, turned over a senior class, had 8 freshmen, and we struggled that year. We struggled. We had 6 returners from a championship team, but we lacked accountability. We didn't get in the gym. They didn't do great with scouts, so on and so forth. And we struggled. And we got put out of the tournament by a really good Hampton University team. So when the year went over, I was like, man, I got to find a way, to be able to hold them accountable. How can I, let them see that we're keeping up with who's getting in the gym, who's doing stuff for the program, who's really invested. So I was talking to Robert Mosley on the road, and Robert was telling me something that Andy Landis did at the University of Georgia. He talked about the Marble system. He said, Joni does it as well. And he gave me this chart of things that they did, from obviously getting in the gym, getting extra shots up, but even academically, getting good grades. You know what I'm saying? And then you can lose marbles by not, being tardy and so on and so forth. And then taking it to the game of basketball. Guards get at least 6 rebounds. They get marbles. Post at least 8 rebounds, free throw percentage, so on and so forth. Hosting recruits, getting commitments, like all those things. So what I did that year, talking to Robert, we got 16 different marble colors. We got one big jar that we called our jar of accountability, and it was a colorful jar with the words on it. And every 25 marbles you got a run pass. That was your reward. You can imagine what a run pass can be used for. It's your get out of jail free card. So you get 25 marbles. We when we start practice as a team, we'll address the person that got 25, ask them how they got it, because you want it to be infectious. I got in the gym. I got extra lift. I watched film, got extra film in with a coach, and I got a couple of grades here, and they got me my 25 marbles. We applaud them. They dump their colorful marbles into the jar. Then I give them their run pass. So at the end of the year, and that's kind of what I based our success off of. Like I'll talk to our group. Last year, we got 3,000 marbles and we had this level of success. This year we want to have this certain level of success. Then we need this many marbles. And this group right now, this is my first turnover from the last class, and they're really committed to it. They're really bought into it. They're doing all the things necessary to accumulate those. Why do we marbles make us do stuff? I said, nah, they ain't what those marbles are for. Those marbles for at the end of the year when I see that you don't have any. And then we got a conversation to be had in terms of your investment, in the program. But from that 14-18 team, when we, introduced that accountability system, became a 23-9 team, going 15-1, losing to Hampton University during regular season, going to the NCAA tournament and really competing with the defending national champions, South Carolina. So for us, that has kind of been our staple, our foundation of accountability. And I think every coach on the Zoom would say, accountability and how you respond to adversity are keys to having success. Absolutely. Inside and out. And that is something that we pride ourselves with, and I talk to our young women about all the time. But that has been our thing, and it's still right now, 5 years later, been great for us.
Good. Yeah. I loved it, man. I love it. Coach Six, we just talked about a little bit about an accountability piece. Last week, I know we talked about it. We had a conversation about asking a player who they were or who they saw themselves as, right? And making sure that who they saw themselves as and who you see them as are the same people, right? Some of them see themselves as Beyonce, and you may see
Tina Turner.
I don't know who Kelly Rowland. I don't know somebody, right? But at the same
Over there, that's the road.
that's the road. Talk about the system that you just recently implemented, correct?
Yeah, I saw a little survey of how a manager handles their workers.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did was he came up with all these things that he needed his workers to be great. Maybe 10 things, maybe 15 things. So I tried it for myself. I put shooting, rebound, the obvious things. What kind of defender are you? And then I put the intangible things like your attitude. Are you coachable? What kind of teammate are you? So on and so forth. And what we did was the person that we thought was the standard, like shooting, we put Steph Curry there. Mm-hmm. So then we went and we asked the kids, how do you see yourself? I got a question for you. Rate yourself from 1 to 10 as a shooter. Now, Steph Curry is the standard at 10. I had some kids on my team say they was a 10 as a shooter. and I said, well, baby, if you shoot 23% from the 3-point line, I didn't dissuade them, you know. Mm-hmm. I let them do it, and we kind of put it on their locker to say, and it's one way of motivating. It's two kinds of ways of motivating them. When they see that on their locker, you could go to them and say, hey, you said you this. I didn't say it. You said that you were 10 in rebounding, and you had 1 rebound tonight. Mm-hmm. You know, this is your standard, not mine. This is what you said you are. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing we do is we broke the kids up into groups. And so now you're getting that thing once a week. Mm-hmm. You know, and you see who you are versus who you say you are.
Right. Right.
Right. And so ain't no, when your people come to you and say, hey, man, why you not playing? Hey, show them your chart. Mm-hmm. Show them your chart. You know, and at the end of the year, ain't no misunderstandings. Because mm-hmm. you getting it weekly as to who you are.
No question.
And so we hold them accountable. And like I said, the accountability is you're not even holding yourself to the standard that you say you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that.
That's good.
Coach Brooks, and we talked about this a little bit before. You're the head honcho of a Division I BCS basketball program. You really the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, right? Talk about ways you manage your program in other aspects outside of being a basketball coach. Talk about some of the things that you have to deal with outside of being a basketball coach. I know, like an example with me, I'm gonna get an email about academics. I'm gonna get an email about some media coverage. I'm gonna get some stuff that is going on with medically with one of our kids. It's gonna be something that's going on in the apartment, something going on in the at the cafeteria. Talk about how you manage all of those things and with your assistants as well, but talk about just the CEO portion of being a head basketball coach at the BCS level.
You know what? I mean, that's a great topic because, you know, when I was at JMU, obviously I didn't have the resources that I have here. So I was more hands-on. You know, I had to be more hands-on, you know, with every situation that came up. You know, I was privy to all the information, had to do a lot of the grunt work. And then when I came to Tech, you know, I just felt like I had resources, you know, and I remember one time going through a line after a game, and the head coach shook everybody on my staff's hand. They said, "Man, how many people do you have?" And it's just to feel like I have somebody for somebody. I got a director of operations. I got an assistant director of operations, and it's to the point where sometimes you have so many, you don't know what they actually do, and so you can be disconnected. You can be disconnected from, you know. The program in so many different ways because you always got somebody to handle something. And, you know, as assistant coaches or in their roles, you know, they're kind of taught to, you know, really don't come to me with everything.
Right.
You know, come to me with what they think is really important. And so sometimes when you get like that, if you don't watch it, you can become disconnected. So what I have to do, you guys talk about accountability, you know, I have to make sure that I'm not walking around like a CEO. You know, I want to make sure our kids know that I'm still their coach.
Right.
You know, they still can walk up into my office. They don't need an appointment. They don't have to talk to my secretary or go to the second secretary to get to my office. You know, they can just walk right by and come in and sit down and talk. So I never want to lose touch with that, because I think once you lose touch with that, you lose touch with your team.
Yep.
When you're just walking around and you barking and you barking instructions, you'll have no accountability with the kids because you don't know them. So I had to really watch myself and make sure, you know, because I could give somebody, you know, responsibilities to where I probably would never have to deal with any of the grunt stuff, but I have to make sure I put my hands in it so that I know exactly what's going on. You know, the kids have a really good touch with me, so I know what's going on, because we know as the head coaches, you know, when compliance comes around, they talk about head coach responsibility. You know, you better not be too disconnected with what's going on. You better know, you know, what's happening. So, but I did have to watch it, because I have a lot of people, because here our men have so many people, and you know, and obviously with you know, Title IX and things of that nature, you know, we're going to get a lot of people.
Right.
So we got to put them to good use. But you know, the biggest thing is I got to make sure I stay connected, you know, with the whole program, with the kids, what's going on. If a kid has an issue, yeah, if they feel comfortable, go and talk to an assistant coach, but they also got to let them know that they can walk into my office and sit down and talk too. You know, just trying to be really, like, I tweaked my hamstring today out there trying to work out with the kids, you know, and I just reminded myself I'm 50 years old, but that's my way of connecting. That's my way of connecting with them and showing them and getting down there with them. And that's what I've really had to do. And then, like, my kids did a podcast, not a podcast, but IG Live today, and two of them were talking, and they were talking about how they could just walk up into my office and bring a cup of coffee and sit down and talk, or at the same time go down there and work out with me. And that's something I think that has to set me apart here at Tech. You know, when like I lost a kid today, a recruiting kid, she called me up and said, you know, she committed to Tennessee. You know, so I got to find ways to, you know, beat Tennessee for kids, and for me, the accountability of letting them know that I'm here, and just touching them in different ways where it's not just letting someone else do it, the whole situation.
No question. And it probably was just a lot different for you when you first got to Virginia Tech, because you were so used to being hands-on, right?
Yes, absolutely. Here, you know, they want me to go all these places, and you know, well, at JMU, it was like, okay, well, I got to drive there or whatever. You know, here it's like, okay, no, we got a private plane. We'll be down in, you know, Norfolk in 30 minutes. You know, but I want to be here. I want to be here with the kids. Right. You know, and that's the things that I love to do. And they've kind of gotten to the point where they allow me to do that. And I'm like, look, you know, I'm not a CEO kind of coach. I want to be hands-on with my kids. I want to be there with my kids. And I think that's what's helped us, you know, build the program, or start to build the program where we can lay down the foundation. Because
you're not so disconnected. I know, Huey, you talked a little bit about that when you going from assistant to head coach. I know I had that same issue, especially the first year. Like, you know, I wanted to be hands-on. Being an assistant, it's just a different ball game, because you got so many other things going on, and you have to trust that your assistants are going to get things done. Now, one of my problems was this, and it still is to a certain extent. I need to know what's going on, right? Like, because like you said, compliance come talking about head coach responsibility. I need to know. So if something's going on with one of our kids, I need to know. Like, an email you send out that's got something to do with the program, I need to know that email has been sent. You can't just I know you're trying to handle it on your own, and thank you, but at the same time, just keep me privy. Say you got it, but keep me privy of it, because I don't need nobody saying, like, I don't know. That's the worst thing you could have. The worst thing you could say, I didn't know that was going on. Then they're gonna ask you why you didn't know, right? And then why you didn't say anything about it. So that's really big with me, and I don't think that's a problem. I just think it can get overwhelming at times, right?
Well, it also helps you be resourceful,
right?
When you had to do different things, you know, same thing with Kenny at JMU. You know, you kind of like, hey man, you know, right. You doing You doing compliance, you doing guidance counseling. You got 17 jobs. You know,
Right.
you know what I mean. And what happens is you're able to tell your assistants the easiest way to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're trying to do it that way, but it works. It works kind of different here. It's this way here. So try it this way.
Got it.
Because you've done it before. So
Right. You got it. That's a great point, because I've done that a couple of times. Right. That's a great point. But at the same time, just making that move. Talk a little bit about that, Huey. Just that move for you when you first got over there, man.
Yeah, you know, the one thing that I talked about that we still do is like the kids will come up, Coach Huey, I came by your office, you wasn't there. Because I'm a hands-on guy, I go see people.
Me too.
I don't do a whole lot of email and all that kind of stuff. When I need to see you, I need to look in your eyes, be able to make sure you got this or whatever case may be. We have that conversation. So I pass it on to my assistants, or I'm walking around on the phone recruiting, or I'm in and out of the assistant's office finding what's going on and all that kind of stuff. But every Monday morning at 9:30, we go down everybody, what's your due for this week?
Mm-hmm.
From my trainer to my strength coach, what you think about scheduling, what you think about with running them, all this kind of stuff, my Dobo, where we are with equipment, where we are to travel. I know what state we're in with the COVID, the hotels we got, that we're not going out to eat, or we're going to have the menu we want. So we're going through all of that. Every assistant coach, we're going on recruiting with all the rest of them there. Do we have all the birthdays, all that kind of stuff? So every Monday at 9:30, we're going through that. So all that stuff that you're telling us right there, I'm jotting down little notes about stuff. So that next Monday, we checking it off the list while we're going through the week, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but I've always been hands-on to so much to my assistants are like, Coach, we got this. You don't need to come and be at the dorm for the unofficial, or you don't need to meet this person down here to go and talk. We can be able to do that part. But again, I came from a place where I had to do all of that. And I ain't about to let all that go, because like you said, to Kenny being the CEO, Kelvin Sampson told me when I first got the job, you the CEO of the women's basketball program. And it's your job to know everything in and out. And he said, I learned that. I thought I knew that, but I learned that through experience. He didn't mention the Indiana stuff, but I think that's what he was talking about. You know, and the other part was, like Kenny was talking about, he got all those people. I came in with Kelvin. Kelvin got all those people, and they gave me all them people. Man, after my first year, man, I went to him and said, man, I can't use that one. That one got to go. Take that one away. And so I trimmed mine down, man, because I found out I can't do all the stuff that they're trying to do.
Right.
So I was like, I got to be able to hold myself accountable for the things I know without trying to search through and all this. And so I emailed Bonnie Hendrickson. And Bonnie sent me a sheet that has women's basketball tasks. So it got every player, every person name across the top, and all the duties down the side. And it's color coded. Who got to do what? And we give it to everybody who knows what is assigned, who has it, what is covered, all kind of stuff like that. So if something fall up under somebody and they didn't do it, I'm going right to that sheet, and we're gonna find out why. You know, but that's another thing with just reaching out and that kind of stuff, you know, but I'm on the phone all the time just trying to find people that can help me get better with anything. You know, it's like Six said tonight about that sheet of getting the evaluation. I'm already putting down stuff, but what I can get my kids, because I already on Monday, they doing a self-evaluation of themselves. You know, then on Wednesday, they're going to do their teammate, you know? So again, I'm trying to get to that truth thing. And being that CEO, you got to be able to know the pulse of what's going on in all your staff too. You know, just like on my staff today, I told them tomorrow, we got to talk about what's the process if I get COVID. So now I'm out 14 days and all that kind of stuff. So we already talked about, you know, my video guy gonna have me on Zoom. Ty's the most experienced in what we're doing. So she run practice. I'm still gonna get the practice together with her, you know, just all that stuff. So just trying to get around on the top part. Let my SWA know that too, then be able to roll through, because again, at the end of the day, that CEO thing, like y'all talking about, man, is real. It's real for us.
That's a great point, because I was thinking about that this week. Like, what happens if I get it?
Yeah.
Right. What's the next step? Well, how are we gonna handle that? Right. What happens if you know, your athletic trainer gets it, and you don't have another athletic trainer to come. You know what I mean? So like, it's a lot of different things that you have to look at. And one of the things I learned after my first year, I went to go to a head coach's thing at Felicia Hall Allen, and one of the I took away what I took away from that session I went to with Felicia was that, you know, I was task oriented and that's what I am, right? But at the same time, I wasn't, that first year, I wasn't enough taking care of my people, right? I was doing a lot of the brunt and the work, but I wasn't doing people work, right? So I had to make sure I worked on my players, had to make sure I spent time with my assistants, had to make sure I was on campus and they saw me, and the cafeteria people know who I am, and so they can just, instead of them going to maybe our academic advisor and letting them know what's going on with one of our kids, they know me personally, right? So they know me personally. Now they can come to me because we're at a small university. They know me personally. Now they can come to me and say, hey, Susie wasn't in class today, or Susie wasn't feeling well today. You know what's going on. They can come to me and do that. So I think having that in a small campus atmosphere and a family atmosphere like that, making sure that they see you and know you and you doing the people work helps out a lot too. Plus, once you win and everybody like you, right, you can you get a lot of people work done with that too, right?
Yeah.
T-Rob,
What's up?
recently you had the WNBA champion and 4-time NCAA, that's crazy, 4-time NCAA champion and 4-time most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament, Breanna Stewart, on a Zoom call with your team.
Yeah.
How was that, and what was the conversation like? What did she talk about?
You know, I was telling our kids, because I didn't sit on the Zoom, but obviously we recorded and I watched it later. I told them, I'm not gonna sit on the Zoom because, you know, it ain't that hard to know why people are successful. And, you know, after you put the talent to the side, why she's who she is. So you're gonna hear a lot of the stuff that we already tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Only it be coming from the 4-time, you know what I'm saying, NCAA National Player of the Year, WNBA MVP, WNBA Championship MVP, Breanna Stewart. So so I wasn't on there, and I mean, she was great, man. I mean, she was in the room. She was aware of our players and knew people's names, because the way we were able to do it, Tracy King, the young lady that I coached my first 2 years here, worked for Nike. Okay. And Nike was doing this thing that Breanna wanted to go on Zoom with different teams for the summer before she started with the WNBA. And Tracy was like, Coach, great opportunity for you guys. I think this would be really impactful. And I'm like, yeah, well, move us up then. We need to do it next Sunday or Monday or whatever. So Tracy made it happen. And she just talked about all the things she talked about. One, she said, when they can have practice at 11. She said, practice at 11, I may get there at 9. Just to my and then she practically over 11. Practically over 11, I might not leave the gym till 1 because I want to get some more shots. I mean, like she bottom line, you got to put in the work. And she talked about being pissed at teammates because she felt like they didn't work as hard as she did. Like, and I'm telling our young women the same thing that y'all complaining about here. It goes on in the WNBA. It's just a different level. You know, but still it goes back to accountability and working your ass off. And if you want to be the best, you got to do what the best does. You got to practice the best type of habits. And those are the things that she talked about beyond, you know, telling them that she was going to keep up with them. And who knew that Seattle was going to do what they did this year and she was going to perform the way she performed. Right. But before she had that ACL, she was the best player in the league.
No question.
And obviously, you know, the other night she solidified herself again. And you know, we were texting that. You know, that she pretty much set the tone of who the real MVP is. You know, for example, LeBron ain't got that thing in a couple of years, but everybody knows who the best player in the league is. Right, Kenny? Yep. But hey, she was, you know, it was good, man. And our players thought it was very surreal. Like, man, we see her on TV. Man, she played at UConn. Man, she, you know, you got to work. That's all it is to it. It ain't no shortcuts. It ain't no secret ingredients. And if you really want it, you got to go get it.
No question. No question. Talk about, like, what were some of the questions that your players had for?
Oh, no, they didn't ask good questions now. They didn't.
They
I
did.
mean, they asked leadership stuff, you know,
Okay.
and she talked about just, you know, being transparent, you know, like what Huey's working on, telling the truth, telling people the truth. And she said that, like, she would tell people, look, you're not working hard enough. You know, you're not making your shots. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And she talked about, look, in as far as between freshman and junior, she said, I'm not the oldest or the youngest on my team. But if I'm going to lead, then not only do I got to lead by example, but I got to also be the voice of the team. And all that stuff was because you know how it is. You inherit kids and you get freshmen and they're thinking, well, I don't want to say anything because I don't know everything.
Correct.
I'm like, man, not if you working your ass off, you'll figure that shit out.
No
If
question.
you working your ass out and the senior ain't working their ass off, you better say something to them.
Right.
You know, you have a right. Go ahead, Six.
I tell them your scholarship cost is the same as the seniors.
No question.
Same amount of money. I tell them that all the time. Don't listen to that shit. Your scholarship the same as the seniors.
I
Yeah.
like that.
But that was the biggest thing she talked about was the leadership aspect, because that's what we wanted. We wanted to really talk about as far as his leadership.
And she's not rah-rah. You can tell she's not rah-rah. She's just gonna get the job done. And then she's gonna tell the truth. Right? So I think that was huge. And with her, you know, with them winning the WNBA championship and her being the MVP and just going back to, I know you guys had met with her. It was something that I wanted to see if we could talk about, man. That's good stuff. It's good stuff. Speaking of UConn and Stewie, I know Huey, UConn out of there, right? They out the conference now, right? so listen, it's a free fall, I feel, right?
Exactly.
Talk about what that does for you, for the conference, first off, and then talk about what that does for Houston women's basketball.
You know, it's a great opportunity, you know, for us just to represent the AAC. You know, with UConn leaving, we still think we have a pretty strong conference. We just think that, you know, things have kind of been leveled now. The playing field has been leveled. We were actually on a Zoom today, you know, talking about voting who's the next team to be able to promote for our conference and that kind of stuff. You know, of course, South Florida are always playing them in the championship. So everybody was saying we might need to just go ahead and vote them as a team for our conference. And then what Michelle Hurd has done at Cincinnati in a short time. Abe was doing at UCF. And so Jose and Abe were talking about me and what we've done last 2 out of the 3 years, and then what we've recruited, you know, that kind of stuff. So it just opened up a great conversation that we had, that we think it levels the playing field, and it's going to be a great race, you know, much as we can get in over this COVID stuff. But again, it's a great opportunity for us, man. And we feel like, you know, yeah, UConn's the recognizable face has left the conference, but we got a lot to prove. And you know, we got a challenge with the SEC. You know, we got Auburn. You know, I know some other people got some other people, but again, we're trying to do that. We try to do the same thing with the Pac-12. You know, again, like I keep telling everybody, you know, when it comes to mid-major, they don't ever call us mid-major. We're never in the mid-major polls. Every time teams are doing well and all that kind of stuff, never in the mid-major polls. We're always in the major polls, you know, the rest of you guys and that kind of stuff. And so that's the other thing too. But again, they don't say we Power 5. But when we get ready to schedule games and we say we'll pay for our rooms, and they always say, no, y'all Power 5. Like,
You know why they doing that?
You know.
Houston on ESPN right now. Houston football on ESPN right now. That's
exactly
right. So that's how they're looking at it, man. But that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff.
You can't have the games and the money.
So Huey, you guys playing at Auburn?
Yeah.
So y'all could be pressing each other so much, y'all not gonna know who's pressing who. Hey, let me know what day that game is. I want to watch that.
might not want to watch it. We went to Auburn a couple years ago, man. It was like this was like 3 years ago. I was an assistant, and we go to Auburn, and
I watched that game. We played them right after y'all played them.
really, we had that was the ugliest game ever.
Yes.
Oh my God! Listen, we had the score might have been at halftime might have been 22-8. We had like 22-8 or 22-10 or something like that. Like nobody could score, and only time we were scoring was on like rebound. That was a bad game. I think it was like either after Christmas break had happened, so we had came on and we came back. That was the ugliest game. But that's the same year we won the conference championship though. So we scored 8 points against Auburn and got that guarantee. But then we got a championship, so that's all good.
Hey, look, we played Auburn in the FIU tournament. In the championship game, I played Rhode Island first, just a few years back. I played Rhode Island first, and then I played Auburn, and we won 44-42. But you couldn't tell me it wasn't 144 to 142. I didn't give a damn. I didn't give a damn. 44-42, but it was a win.
It don't matter. It don't matter.
And we played them. We won 95-88. So go figure. I mean,
wow.
Go figure.
Yeah, man. We're really looking forward to it, you know. So that's the other thing we're doing now is trying to chop up some film just to be able to show our kids, you know, but they don't know how people play and all that. But we just try to give them a little snap of here and there and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I am really excited about it, man. Got like Flo, we're coming.
Yeah, that's a good segue into what I want to talk about next. And I'm gonna ask each of you guys, like, do you use practice players? Do you have practice players at all?
Yeah, we use guys.
Okay. What about you, Coach Rob?
Yeah, we do, but I'm not sure if I am this year, but we do.
Right. So
we have.
All of us try to use a couple guys or whatever the case may be if you can get them, right? But with COVID going on, we don't know if we could use them like we've been able to use them in the past, correct? At our level.
I'm not using them.
So not using those practice players, how do you prepare for, like, and this is for you, Huey, and we can go to you Coach Brooks. How do you prepare to play against Auburn, who plays zone all game, and not with your kids?
Oh, I'm gonna take them. We got 15. I ain't playing but 10. They already know. The mother 5.
They're gonna know it like the back of their hand, huh?
The back of their hand. That's it.
They're gonna have 2 a day, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're gonna get in with the coach early. They're gonna know the scout better than people that's getting ready to play. I'm telling you, yeah, man. I'm sorry. I got 15. I ain't never had 15 before, but I know with the system we do, we don't need but 10.
Right. Gotcha.
The mother 5, and that 5, y'all can be able to shuffle in and out. But that depth chart that Q just gave me, that thing is worth wonder. And I'm telling you right now, I'm being able to push them forward, man. But yeah, them 5 is gonna know what we need to know, man, based on which coach, whose scout it is, being able to help them get there. And it ain't gonna be really, really true, but we're gonna be able to get some kind of idea from it.
Got it. Coach Brooks, I know at Virginia Tech you have the resources, and you got how many students on campus at Virginia Tech?
30,000.
Oh no. You got enough for practice. You have enough for practice, guys, right?
Yes.
Talk about JMU though. When you was at JMU and you had your team, and it might have been over the Christmas break or whatever the case may be, you had your team. How did you prepare them for a different style that was different than you?
Pretty much the same thing. At JMU, we had 22,000 students, so
wow.
we had the resources to
Got it.
Pull in guys. And for me, it's been a very important resource. It's been a lifeline for me because when we want to try to go and emulate, another team, and you got practice guys out there, they do a much better job. And those guys, I can ask them to ramp it up. I can ask them to slow it down. I can ask them to play a certain way. and that really helps emulate it. Like when we used to play against like Deladon, you know, I bring a 6'4", you know, kid out there to play like her, you know, to imitate her movements. You know, when I came to Virginia Tech, it was crazy because we pluck the practice guys from the club team, and our club team is pretty good. Okay. So the first time we had them, you know, I had 6'9", 6'10", guard. I mean, so I had to teach them how to, hey man, you know, slow it down. And the first thing I do, I bring them all in a huddle. They're all excited. And they get gear. They got some shoes. Right. And I tell them, I say, look, play hard. All right, play like we want you to play. If I say go 50%, go 50%. To emulate it. And I said, if you hurt my kids, I'll kill your ass. And you know, they look at me, they kind of laugh, and I don't laugh with them. And then they know. So if they ever smack one of the kids' hands or do something, you know, they're looking at me and they're like, I'm sorry. But those guys, man, they're a lifeline for us because they get so invested. They will watch film. You know, we're taking an assistant coach and they'll go over the offenses. They'll watch film on how the other team plays. And they'll sit behind our bench during the games and be yelling out the other team's play calls. You know, 'cause they get so invested. So it's really important to me, And, you know, in the ACC, I can tell, you know, one of our, you know, 5'8", really fast kid who couldn't play at the college level. I said, I want you to be a Rike today. And it's how she played. Go hard, you know, do this and do that. And it prepares us. And it's something that we definitely need. We will use them this year. We can pluck it. I usually have about 15 guys. They don't all come at the same time, right? You know, on different days. But what we've done this year is we're going to have like 4. We're going to have 4, and they're getting tested just like our kids. They're almost like walk-ons, like walk-ons. And we've told them, you know, if you're going to do this, you got to make a commitment. You can't do the things you normally would do. And we got like 3 of them that are just diehard. They want to coach. And nice. But like one of my GAs right now was one of my practice guys, and he, I mean, he's old school. Kid would do anything in the world. I mean, anything. You tell him to do anything. And it's been funny too. I've had a couple kids. I had one kid from JMU, was my practice guy. Smart, would do everything, run the practice squad, and now he's an NBA official. And it's crazy because I see LeBron whining, and you know who he whining to? My kid, who was my practice guy. Wow. You know, so it's been really good lifeline for us, and you know, but also to be able to help propel some kids' careers, and so we'll continue to do it.
That's good stuff, man.
That's great, man.
What about you?
Good plan.
We used to use guys, but we won't use them this year. You know, just because of COVID testing and things of that nature. So, like Huey said, those 5 that's you know, they the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th men. They need to, you know, they need to learn the plays of the other team and you know what their responsibility is and the thing that you got to, in my opinion, that you have to do is make them understand that that's important too.
No question.
You got to get the team ready, right? And that doesn't mean that you're not going to play. That doesn't mean that you can't move up. But today, your job is to get ready.
You get ready, because we do that, and we've done it in the past. Get ready, because them scouts, sometimes they go on scout, they be looking like all Americans when they go on scout team. They come over there with the red. They come over there with the green squad. Give you nothing, right?
Because there's no pressure on them.
No pressure, right? They go out there and hoop. Ain't no pressure. So that's
I got a few All-American practice players.
Wow. Yeah, we've always used guys until this year, but I just couldn't take the chance, man. I applaud Kenny for having that. We recruited ours off Kelvin them when they come out and try out, and then they get cut, and we'll get them. But I don't think they're going to be able to have ones that we can, you know, be fully committed like that, especially in Houston, man. It's just too much going on, too much to do.
We usually do that too. Hey, KB, talk to me about a couple of episodes ago you talked about shot selection. right? And I was talking with me and T-Rod were talking about just some things, and there's some groups, some teams that like today in practice, I told the kid, you don't shoot that. That's not your shot. Right?
In life.
Right. don't ever in your life shoot that. Right? But it's the reason is you haven't worked on it enough. Like, I haven't seen you, I don't trust you to make that shot because you haven't made that shot consistently, right? There's some teams that, you know, consistently tell their kids, no, you're not gonna shoot that. How do you go about shot selection with your players, especially those that are coming from where they were big time scorers, where they were, or whatever the case may be, and they want to come in and they got to fit into what you're trying to do?
I swear, man, I bet I didn't say it 10 times last year to my group that was a bad shot. You know, I'm talking about the team. And and the way we do it, and it works for us, is that we rely so heavily on individual instruction that when we go down there, we work on the shots that's good for them. We work on the shot that's good for them. You know, work on the shot that's good for them. They know what's a good shot for them. So when they get in the game, they know what shots are good for them. And for us, man, let's call a spade a spade. Okay, when you get to be 18 to 22 years old, it ain't much more improving you're gonna do. You know, if you a straight shooter, you ain't gonna come to college and all of a sudden you gonna learn how to put that thing on the floor and become Allen Iverson. You know, it just ain't happening. So basically, we get to that point, man, and we just really work on what they're really good at, and they know what they're good at. So when we get in the course of a game, we kick it out, we go, and they get to their spots and what's good for them, and the things we've been working on. And I swear, no more than 10 times last year, I look at the kids, that was a bad shot. Because when we work on the stuff, they know what's good. Like we had that today. You know, we didn't have a team session today. We just had individual sessions, and they all came in. I was down there with them, and we worked on shots. And they, you know, we had our shooters were coming off of like stuff in our plays where they would catch and they would shoot. You know, point guards, they were driving downhill. They were learning stuff. Post players, this is a good move. You get it right here. So when they get into practice and in the games, they work on that, and we don't really have that problem. Don't have that problem.
So are you telling your kids their roles? Like right now, this is what I need you to do.
I'm not telling it to them. I'm showing it to them.
Showing it to them when you're in your workout.
Yes, absolutely.
D, go ahead. D, go ahead and tell. Go ahead. I'll tell them what we was talking about. So I had a kid.
Go ahead.
I had a kid, right? And I'm not gonna say where they transferred from and all that stuff. But they came to my office because I was talking to them. And they was like, Coach, you know, this is a program where you develop players. I'm like, no shit. That's right. You know. And she's like, well, where I came from, you was given a sheet, and the sheet was who they wanted you to be. So that sheet said you take no more than 3 to 6 shots, and you're in the game and you get 6 shots in the first quarter. She said, I'm a literal person. That's in my head, so I'm not shooting anymore. And I'm like, oh, for real? Yeah. And so she said this to me early, but she brought me that damn sheet. She found it and brought me the sheet. And I was telling D, I'm like, how in the hell can you limit somebody?
You can't. Now let me tell you what happened.
My personal opinion. I feel like you shortchange yourself.
No question. Let me tell you what happened this morning, though, why I told my kid, don't ever shoot that in your life, right? Listen, so we work on, I told her, you either get into the rim or you catch and shoot, right? She's in a we playing 3-on-3 against 3-on-3, and she goes and she has a lane to the rim. She decides she wants to take a step back, dribble, step back, fade away, shot. You don't ever shoot that. We never work on that, right? So if you ain't never worked on it and you don't make that when I see you doing it in the workout, don't do that, right? But if you making that consistently, that's what we need to do. I guess you're watching too much NBA or something like that. I don't know what's going on, but
I swear our kids that they really do what we teach them. They do what we teach them, and we're not doing anything that's like
right.
I'm gonna have to visit you to see how you hypnotize and do that.
And you know what? And it's organically. It ain't. Very seldom do I say, "Don't you ever shoot that shot." It's just organically. We work on stuff, and then they almost feel like, "Oh, this is my shot." This my shot. This is what we're doing.
That's a good way to look at it.
And so it's like I don't like say, "Hey, don't do this." We just work on what I want them to do. It's almost like hypnotizing them. Hey, this is good for you. This is good for you. This is good for you. So then when they catch it, they get in the game, they know exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, that kind of changed us when I was sitting in the gym talking to Neil Ivy, and I was asking her, I said, I watch y'all games. Of course, y'all getting high-level kids, but the kids can really shoot, and, they're not doing any extra movement. They're just catching and shooting or layups or high post shot, that kind of stuff. And I said, what are some of the shooting drills or mechanics y'all work on with y'all kids and all that? She was like, Huey, we don't do anything. No shooting outside our offense. No shooting outside our offense. Everything we do is geared towards the shots they're going to get in our offense. And that's where our kids take the shot sets and they'll go ahead. And I looked at her like I was like the stupidest person in America. Why, how come you ain't figured that out? But she told me that. A light bulb went off. We've been doing it ever since. So I don't talk about good shot, bad shot. The only reason I get on my kids if they don't shoot it or they hesitate to shoot it.
Now,
and I'm all over them for that now.
I get on them if they don't shoot that. So like the same situation will be somebody dry the paint, they kick it to a shot we've been working on for a year and a half, and she don't take it. Right? So now you're not taking it. I'm like, you gotta shoot that. But then she goes and now she wanna go and she wanna shoot a step back. No, that ain't what we work on. You're not doing that, right? Yeah. And then like I think a lot, especially it comes with maturity. Like they are, some of them are, I want to say just they're into the glamorous piece. They may see something that they like, a nice spin move or something like that they're doing, and they out of control, and they get a ooh and an ah, but it's not efficient, right? And what we're trying to do is make sure that they understand what efficiency looks like. Like that's really a turnover that you just made, right? If you do that.
I think we get to that point, but when Kenny said it's organic, it definitely ain't organic. It take us steps to figure out that hey, that ain't your shot. I got to bring the mirror out there and say you ain't Steph Curry. You know what I mean? I gotta let them know. Ain't much market for a two guard who can't shoot.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
But at the same time, Kenny already said like if she can't shoot, she ain't at Virginia Tech. At the two. So he recruited that. He recruited you. You know what you can do, right? Don't try. I think, and this came from a player. In my situation, it came from a player that she's a role player. She does the dirty work. She's gonna go get a rebound. She's gonna make a catch and shoot shot. She's really smart. She's gonna be good on defense, right? She can pass. Like she can do all that. But then she sees somebody that's a little bit more of a slasher scorer that's getting more time, right? She may be trying to be that. Don't try to be that. Be you.
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean? And that's what I have to continue to preach to our kids. Be you, and what you are is really, really good enough. And if you be the best you can be, you're gonna help us probably even more. And it may not be in the glamorous piece where you're scoring a lot of points, but you're gonna help us win a championship because of the things you do. Intangibly.
Now, Donnell, I don't know if you are Rob. I don't know if you had. Sometimes I have shadow boxes. They look great with nobody swinging at them. You know what I mean? I got kids that can make 9 out of 10 shots with nobody around. But once you put somebody in the stands and you put some referees on and whatever, their shooting percentage drop drastically. Look, I try to tell them that's the same shot you made 9 out of 10 times in the gym when we was working out. But now you won't take it. Or now you shooting 18%, like I told you earlier.
Right.
Maybe the three ain't for you if you're shooting 18%. You know what I mean?
Hey, when they shooting 18%, tell them you miss 82% of the shots you take. Don't tell them they shoot 18%.
Good.
But,
Good.
but you know what, man? Like one that hits them differently. Yeah.
Easy. That's easy math too.
Yeah.
That just punched me in the gut.
Quick, man.
I tell you what, too, man. Like you can like I got a kid talented as hell. One of the most talented kids I've ever had, Asia Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid, I don't know if you guys saw my tweet today. We went through a workout today, an hour strong, showing her all kind of stuff. And she's the kind of kid that she'll make the game harder because she can get to a spot, but she might want to do something different.
Yeah.
And so the way I tell her is, I'm like, well, why you want to do that spin move when you just go straight and your pull up is a lot better? So I don't say don't do that spin move. I say, if you go straight line drive and you go up and you finish, that's better. It clicks with her. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh yeah, okay, all right. But this kid is so talented, I think sometimes she gets bored. We went through an hour workout. We went through an hour workout today. And then at the end, we put her through a rapid fire shooting drill. I swear to God, I've never seen this before in my life. She made 70 out of 75 3-pointers to finish the workout. I mean, blew my mind. My mouth. I mean, that's how easy it is for her, but she makes it hard sometimes. So I got to trick her into taking the easy route, you know, because it's more efficient. And it ain't like I'm yelling at her. And I'll just bring her over and give her a hug. I said, you know, that spin move is all right, but you know, if you go to your left and you do the step back, it's much better. And she's like, oh, okay, all right.
Hey, Kenny, because I love Asia, man. I need to ask this. When you guys got her, who was the competition? Who'd you beat out for her?
UVA, Louisville, and Q messed with her a little bit, but I think he got somebody else.
Because when you guys got her, I said he got one. Yep. He got one that's finna change the culture. She's special, man. And you know, you like I know when I was at VCU, we all saw her as an 8th grader. You knew that she was going to be that special.
Right.
That's awesome, man. I love her.
You know what makes her more special, T? And this is we'll all appreciate this because it's almost like a dying breed. When we got her, I knew we got one. All right, this kid last year she was all first team, all ACC. Mm-hmm. Right, but her first 2 years, she just didn't see the game right. She didn't see the game clear. She was talented, but she didn't see the game clear. I mean, she would come in and say some of the most off the wall stuff, like what she saw compared to what it was. Mm-hmm. And you know, ironically, she played the same position as my daughter, who was a year ahead of her, who knew my system up one side and down the other. So Asia wasn't starting. Her minutes were sporadic the first year. Came back the second year, the same thing. People in her ear, you should transfer, you should do this, you should do that. You know, he's not going to play you, blah, blah, blah. But me and her were so close, she trusted the process. Mom came in, was like, look, coach, I trust you. You know, I want you to make her a great basketball player, but I want her to understand adversity. You can't run from it. And that's like a dying breed these days.
Oh, that's a dying breed. Boy.
Dying breed. So last year, she just trusted, had a great year, first team all ACC, and now she's gonna leave out of here as maybe the leading scorer. You know, people love her, and like that right there, that story right there warms my heart because now she's the face of my program.
Right.
You know, intelligent, and look, intelligent, strong, young Black woman. Okay, the face of the program at predominantly white Virginia Tech. And this kid is like, she's running it because I say she's going to be Kamala Harris one day. You know, she's going to be that, she's that smart. But she trusted the process, man, trusted the process. And I love that more about her than I do, you know, making 70 out of 75 3-pointers at the end of practice.
Wow.
That's great, man. Wow. I got one question for D, try to wrap us up now. I know he
hey, me too. Go ahead, Hugh.
And Kenny almost answered it, so I started paying attention to what he was just talking about with his kid. I got 4 3-level scorers, and when we go our individuals or our 2-on-2 and 3-on-3 stuff, they talented. You know, get to the rim, got the pull up, shoot the 3, and all of that. Trying to get them to understand which one that they're going to be great at or good at, and trying to get them to be able to go to that when time to go to that. That's the difficult part that I'm trying to find right now with them. Because they're so talented, 3 of them are already, you know, 2 of them are 6 feet, and the other one's 5'10", one 5'9". So again, they got size, they're strong, be able to get up and down, all that kind of stuff. But they got so much talent and so much in their game and wiggle and get to the rim and want to pump it, you know, all of this stuff. And I'm just trying to get them to be simple, but don't want to take away the 3-level scorer that they are, but go to your go-to or be able to get your thing that you know you're going to be able to run to, you know, when that time comes. And I'm like catching it, trying to get them to understand that.
Yeah.
And
That's
just
what I
listen
think.
to what Kenny said. Listen to Kenny talk to Asia Separate, first team, you know, all ACC. It sounds like the way Kenny is putting it, he's telling her what's best for her.
Right.
And what's best for her, what's best for the program. And then it goes back to that trust. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like our players, these young women, they want that instruction, and you got to give it to them. You can't
Correct.
give them options.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you know, you can't give them options till they earn that as a junior and as a senior. And I'm not sure what classification your young women are, Huey, but just listen to Kenny. Kenny's like, he's like telling, look, that's a good move, but this is what's best.
Right. So it's not hindering them, right? It's not stopping them, and that's what I took from what you said, Kenny. That was stuff, because it's not telling them, it's allowing them to make the decision on their own.
Right.
But
You know what I mean? Like
giving them the cheat sheet.
right. Like you're doing it to help them. Like,
Right.
and it ain't doing it to help. It's first to help them, and then in turn it's gonna help the team, right? So they need to feel like you got their best interests at heart to help them to be a better player.
You know, I had a kid from Rob knows this kid. I had a kid named Kaylin Willis, and her first 2 years were phenomenal. You know, got a lot from Detroit and one mixtape, a lot of wiggle with her. You know, she throw a no-look pass, and the kid don't catch it. And she would turn and say, that was a good pass. It sure was, but she have a hard time catching it when she's looking. So you might want to look at her. You know, I'm not saying you made a bad pass. I'm not saying you made a bad pass, but you got to know who you passing the ball to.
JYP, know your personnel.
Yeah. So, you know, you might want to look at her.
Hey, say that again. What'd you say? 6?
You know, she was throwing no look pass, and she turned to me and said, that was a good pass. Yeah, it was, but she have a hard time catching it when you're looking at her. So you might want to look at her and call her name. You might want to make it look, you know, look her right in the face so she catches it.
I thought you said she have a hard time catching it when she looking.
You know the best thing you said all night, 6, was your scholarship cost the same as hers. Wrote that down.
Hey, good stuff, man. Hey, man, listen. This is over the past couple of weeks, we saw how important it is for all of you, everybody watching, and all of you, us as coaches, how important voting is. Let's make sure we are at the polls and getting everybody. We got everybody eligible over the summer in our program and registered to vote. It's important. We want everybody to go out and vote and make sure that your voice is heard. It's important. That's it, guys. Huey, I'm sorry, boss. We got to get ready for next week, man. But it's been good, guys. As always, I appreciate you. So best wishes to all of you guys, and we'll be good to go from there. Y'all take care.
All right, guys. All right.